Hooray for Hollywood. You're gonna need a bigger boat. Oh, hello there. I am Stan the Movie Man, and this is my review of Justice League. It stars Ben Affleck, Henry Cavill, Gal Gadot, also Ezra Miller, Jason Momoa, Ray Fisher, Amy Adams, J.K. Simmons, and more. It is the story of the crew of DC Comics superheroes that come together to form a fighting force for good against evil called the Justice League. As the film starts, Superman is dead. The world continues to mourn his death. And we see Batman on a rooftop, and he is taking on some sort of burglar. But out of nowhere comes this flying insect-looking thing that later on we discover is a parademon. He takes it out and realizes that something bad is heading their way. Something very, very bad. And through a series of meetings and searches and hackings and all of that, Batman and Wonder Woman, Gal Gadot, come together with a group of other powered individuals, including Barry Allen, who is the Flash, Ezra Miller, Arthur Curry, who is Aquaman, played by Jason Momoa, and Victor Stone, who suffered a horrific accident and became a part human, part machine creature called Cyborg, played by Ray Fisher. They are coming together to take on a foe from space called Steppenwolf. He is a digital creation played verbally by Ciarán Hinds, and he is actually a precursor to an even bigger bad that will probably show up in the second Justice League movie. Of course, this film has a long and storied history. It has taken forever to get it done, and it took two directors. Zack Snyder was in post-production but had to leave the project after a death in his family, which is understandable. Joss Whedon came in to take care of reshoots and various other things to get the film finished up in time for its release. Now, of course, DC does not have the best track record when it comes to movies. Even though I like Suicide Squad, it was terribly flawed. Batman v Superman was a steaming pile of poo. And Man of Steel left something to be desired, although I did enjoy it. Now, the thing is, how is Justice League with all of these people put together? Well, it is okay. Not fantastic. There are some story issues. It feels very rushed, because they're introducing 3 new characters, plus bringing back a 4th one from the dead to join the team. So all of that gets kind of rushed through, since we haven't had the movies that that show us how all of the other heroes that are introduced in the film got to be the way they are. But it's not terrible, but it's not great. And a film that has taken this long to do, involved this many people, cost this much money to make, should be amazing. And it's not. There are little things that you'll notice. For instance, Henry Cavill as Superman, some of his scenes were reshot, and he was in the process of making another movie, which required him to have a mustache, and the other movie studio did not want him to shave, so they had to digitally remove his mustache in some of his scenes, And that is never more obvious than the very first scene of the movie, which is kind of a flashback when a couple of kids are using their cell phone to record an interview with Superman. It kind of sticks out like a sore thumb. Also, there's an issue or two with Cyborg where his face seems to be floating over his body. It's brief, and I think it only happens one time, but it's kind of noticeable and kind of took me out of the film. And there's just, it's a little choppy because two different people essentially made this movie, two different directors, and they say only 15 to 20% of the film is Joss Whedon's reshoots, whereas the rest of it is Zack Snyder. I'm gonna bet that percentage of Joss Whedon is a little bit higher because there are significant shifts in tone, and this film is more funny than certainly Batman v Superman. They throw in some jokes. I think probably Ezra Miller is in the lead as far as laughs go, but one of the bigger laughs comes, surprisingly enough, from Ben Affleck's Batman, and it worked in this instance rather well. Like the film, didn't love the film. I am giving Justice League 3 stars. Go to StanTheMovieMan.com to read my complete review. Listen to The Fractured Frame. Download it, the podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. It's also available at WIMZ.com on the podcast's link. You can follow me on Twitter at MovieManStan, and you can send emails to me, StanTheMovieMan123 at gmail.com. Till next time, later.